We also hunted together, as we had 5 years earlier in the hills of Camp Pendleton. By now, having moved up from a 22 to a 12-gauge shotgun, I could easily keep up with my father as we stalked through the woodlands and open fields around Saluda looking for rabbits and squirrels. In California, I had been amazed that my father could walk so fast and so far, while I seemed to always be out of breath or trying to ignore the woodenness in my legs. Now, however, as he neared 60 years of age and I was moving into adolescence, the roles were reversed. And he was the one who needed frequent stops to renew his strength. He still had a good eye and quick enough reflexes to be able to bring down a flushed quail or moving rabbit. But I was beginning to understand that when he paused to listen for game or check his bearings, he was really buying time against the encroachments of old age. So that's the way it is. That's the way it works.
Sure.
Good manners were an element in our upbringing that mother and father considered important. I was taught early to stand when adults entered a room and help ladies out with their chairs or with car doors. We never interrupted grown-ups in conversations, and when addressing them, we always ended our responses with sir or ma'am. Father taught me to squeeze a man's hand firmly when I shook hands and to look people straight in the eye when we were talking. He valued personal appearances and good grooming, and until I left for college, I never went more than a few weeks without a haircut. When I was in 7th grade, he taught me how to tie a necktie, and from then on, I was expected to be properly dressed in a coat and tie for special occasions. I was equally aware of how I looked to others. In 7th grade, I was fitted for braces by an orthodontist in Richmond. And on the way home in the car, my teeth hurt and I was depressed. I had gotten eyeglasses only a few months earlier to correct my nearsightedness, and the braces were coming so quickly after the glasses were more than my fragile psyche could handle. Father noticed my despondency and suggested that we stop on the outskirts of Richmond for cheeseburgers and ice cream. With my sore teeth, I could manage neither, so while Mother and Father were finishing their meal in the drugstore where we stopped, I wandered over to the magazine stand and began browsing. Before I had gotten 2 pages into the magazine I had selected, a burly, white-collared druggist appeared at my side, snatched the magazine from my hand, and began browbeating me for reading the magazine without paying for it. I was totally bewildered by his attitude, but before I could retreat or apologize, I saw out of the corner of my eye that my father had risen from his booth and was advancing towards the druggist. His teeth were tightly clenched, as were his fists, and there was fire in his eyes as he came to rest with his face not 6 inches from the druggist's. Before he spoke, I looked at my mother, who, with her eyes closed in the vinyl booth, appeared to be praying. And then I looked at the druggist, who was at least 50 pounds heavier and 30 years younger than my father. "Leave the boy alone," my father growled in a voice gone hard, "or you and I can go outside and settle this." For a moment the druggist said nothing as his face blanched until it was the color of his collar. "Excuse me, sir," he finally stammered, and then retreated to the safety of his cash register. Mother had reacted as if she had seen my father behave similarly on other occasions.